Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some Roadwarden, shall we? Alex, Heathrun, Grim, good evening everyone, good to see you. Well, we're picking up where we left off, and there's a busted up wagon here that we need to investigate. So let's just kind of familiarize ourselves with our circumstance right now as a Roadwarden. So, my understanding of the Roadwarden life is very much akin to The Postman, starring Kevin Costner, which is actually based on a pretty important post-apocalyptic novel. Now, in that sense, the mail must go through. Now, I'm not delivering the mail, but I'm kind of delivering justice. Delivering messages, but trying to keep things safe in this dangerous area. So this is well within my wheelhouse to investigate. And it is 5 hours and 30 minutes before dusk on day 1. We have 40 days left to get back to the city, basically. I have 2 out of 4 vitality. I should take a break, apparently. I have 3 out of 4 nourishment. I have 2 out of 5 appearance. I kind of tried to clean myself a little bit. I have 2 out of 4 armor, and I went with knowledge as like kind of my special ability. So, my character itself here, you could see some more stats that I have. And let's just go ahead. If I look at the map, I've gone over to the right. So I went to the Pelt of the North, the inn. I've already been through Tullia's camp, obviously. And I encountered the ruins, and I had to turn back because there was some kind of like miasma or pestilence or curse in the air that was going to destroy me. So I turned around. I found this dolmen here and found some secret stuff down below. And then I've kind of gone through the road over here. I encountered a goblin. It didn't go so well, but I was able to get away with my horse. Heathrun, you are so right. So let's use that knowledge. Let's investigate the surrounding area. You walk deeper into the wilderness, searching through the shrubs and trees. You don't find any side paths nor remains of a camp or a hamlet. The first game trail you find has been used exclusively by animals. All right, let's check. I'm looking at this. The first thing I want to see is the wagon itself. The planks are still firm and there's no mustiness in the air, but the vehicle needs just a push to fall to pieces, like a child's toy with nothing to keep the parts together. There are ways to construct a wagon with just wood, leather, and fiber, but you find the marks of hinges, braces, nails, and clamps, which are now all gone. The wheels are missing their steel rims. You find only one linen bag, empty and moist. You can't estimate how deep the tracks are. The ground was hard, so the cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. Okay. Let's take a look at the road. The road here is already being overgrown, fading away, but it's in no worse shape than the other parts of the southeastern route. No alternate path has formed around the blockade. So some time is passing as I investigate. Let's check the tree. The leaves are not completely dry, and when you break one of the twigs, it still contains water. There are no signs of sickness that you can recognize, and the termites and other bugs are still sparse. Beneath the trunk, there's no blood, no abandoned limbs. Okay. The stump. You don't find any marks of a maw or paws. The top is hip-high and unnaturally smooth. You could comfortably sit down on it. Okay. So I'm just going to keep investigating. I don't know enough about the game to make any determination on whether or not you should try to jump to a conclusion, but you could see here the tree has fallen across the road. There's this destroyed wagon, And, time is passing, and I don't want to be out here in the dark, but at the same time, let's figure out what happened. The tracks. In the trampled grass, you find 2 sets of tracks to follow. There are no hoof prints. The first set is near the destroyed wagon. The wayfarers suddenly stopped. You could see where they made a sharp turn. The second trail is close to the tree stump. Most of the marks were left by flat, cheap boots, not suitable for long walks, but someone was wearing hard, wide heels, distorting the ground. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. They stick to the main road and lead you north. They could have belonged to 24 people, maybe more. You follow them for a bit, but lose them once there's no more mud and needles to find. Hey, Nicholas, good evening, my friend. I'm doing great, thanks for asking. How you doing? The river? It would only take 2 steps to disappear in the deep water. The rocky bank smells fresh and is filled with the sounds of frogs, insects, and birds. It's not a good spot to quench your thirst. The beds of long kelp pulled by the flow of the river are crowded with fish and 4-legged creatures that you don't even recognize. You keep an eye on the land. There's no carcass in sight and no signs of shells that would be left nearby. Okay. I still really can't piece together what's happened. The Western Hill? The rocky wall isn't much of a challenge. The top of the hill is covered with short grass and sparse trees. You notice a couple of bushes with a good view of the road, just next to the remains of a campfire, charred pieces of wood, ash, bird bones, trampled grass, and a broken earthenware bottle. You follow the deepest tracks leading to the edge of the soft earth. Someone jumped down, or at least stopped stepping on the grass. Okay. So, I've looked at everything. I think I know what happened here. What do I think happened here? So, it was cut down to set up an ambush. Seems right. Why was the wagon abandoned? It broke and the owners were unable to fix it? No, it was attacked by highwaymen, maybe. The owners had no time to move it, so they left it behind, perhaps. But maybe there were bad guys up here. What was originally transported by the wagon? Interesting. I honestly can't tell. There was a linen bag. But maybe it was passengers. They said there were tracks of like 12 people, didn't they? Hey, Jamnuska, good evening. Good to see you, my friend. What happened to the owners of the wagon? They were taken north. You think that the tree was cut down to set up an ambush. The cart which transported human passengers was attacked by highwaymen. Its owners were taken north. Are you sure that's most likely what happened? No, I'm not. I've got second thoughts. I go back to the stump. So it was definitely cut down. The first set, they stopped and they made a sharp turn. Right. I think actually my story was pretty close to correct. Ambush. Highwaymen, passengers, taken north. Yes, I'm sure. While you can't be sure of what really happened here, you don't think there's much left for you to find. let's hope you haven't missed anything. I've second thoughts about the investigation. I mean, I might, but I think maybe I should just travel. Like, I don't really know. Can I move further? Yeah, I can. Okay, let's go. As long as you ride uphill, the forest is sparse. Soon after, the tree roots tear the path apart. The road is coated with branches, acorns, leaves, and chestnuts, and some seedlings have already broken through the pitted surface of the road. If left undisturbed for another year or two, the forest will reclaim this place. Finally, you ride upward again. The plants are getting smaller, the road more rocky. I sigh with relief. I don't know why. I found a tower. While the hills are full of life, you don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guards could fire their crossbows or drop stones on the opponents below. So this place was not meant to be used in combat, but rather as a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in especially untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads. Since the end of the war, the cities can't find enough people and dragon bones to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash or a latrine. The birds are preening their feathers on the top of the tower, while the branches of nearby trees are swaying in the fierce, cold wind. I look for the tracks I saw near the fallen tree. The tracks lead here through the narrow gate, then west. The hard heels are especially noticeable. Okay? I take a look at the signpost. The wood and letters are damaged by decades of rains, frosts, borers, claws, and mosses. You scratch off some of the moss. The planks on the top points, both toward the watchtower, where the letters still spell south, and away from it, with the additionally carved north. The one beneath it points east, and this time you see a tidily written word painted on the wood in blue. Enchanting. In Havlavan, enchanters are artisans specialized in filling ordinary items with magical pneuma, and sure enough, the arrow here looks more like a magic wand. The bottom plank pointing west has a picture of a tall tower on it, surrounded by little houses. The carving spells monastery, but the wood is covered in red paint, suggesting danger. Okay? I examine the campfire spot at the fence. You see a shattered bowl, the remains of a meal from many years ago. However, the firewood and the lonely stool are not too old. You don't doubt that the watchtower seems less threatening to wayfarers than the wilderness around it. Okay? Maybe there's something interesting among the spruce trees. I have 4 hours before dusk. It must be a human-made copse. Only the smallest of the spruces are out of order, born of wild seeds. The largest trees are as tall as the tower itself, which surely doesn't help those who are meant to observe their surroundings. There are also some stumps, most of which used to belong to young saplings. These trees were likely meant to be sold to carpenters and coopers, but they were left alone many years ago. In the copse, you find wild fennel and lettuce thriving in shadows, and there are pears and berries growing among nearby trees and shrubs. Okay. Well, can't I get some food? I already looked at the signpost. So it says the wild plants need more than 1 week before they are ripe. I can use this campfire spot in the future if I have any raw meat with me. I walk to the gate. Setting up a firm wall in a place like this is a bit unusual. It goes on for no more than 40 feet until it connects with a natural rock fence. Such a structure could be found near the city, acting as a checkpoint at which to stop travelers to search through their belongings or request a fee. But in the middle of nowhere, deer and other animals used to running here with no hindrance must have been more than annoyed. A risky investment. You touched a gate made of high-quality wood. previously soaked in oil, now mostly wiped off. It was left open, and you don't see any wooden bar that would be used to lock it. You try to move the cold planks, buried in dried out mud, but with no luck. It would require some wearying digging. Okay, I'll approach the entrance. You take a look at Ruffles. That's my horse. If necessary, it could bow its head and walk inside. This place should be a decent shelter for both of you. The planks are strong, heavy, well protected from rain and wind, and when you knock, they seem to be thick. While the door shakes at your push, it won't open. Defensive structures usually have a locking bar on the inner side, but you also see a large keyhole. You walk around the tower, making sure there are no open windows or other entrances. It doesn't look like you can get in without destroying the door, and doing so is going to make a potential entryway for wild creatures. I look through the keyhole. You kneel down and take a peek. There's nothing in the hole, but the room is dark, with tiny bits of light passing through the crevices of the windows. You see the shapes of wooden furniture like tables, casks, and a ladder, but the only movement you notice belongs to the dust dancing in sunbeams. So I could break down the door, but it doesn't seem like the best plan if I want to use this place in the future. So we can return to the crossroads. All right. The signpost, though, I already looked at it. Right. It just tells you which way you can go. So I have 4 hours to travel. So we know from here we can go west to the monastery, but it says it's dangerous. East is to the enchantress, and we talked about that, but she's expensive, and I don't really have any money. Now, I think the tracks actually said they went off to the west, right? Let me see here. Help others, right. Fallen tree. They've gone west, right. So we should at least go to the west and see what's over there. It's probably dangerous. I might die, but I'm a Roadwarden. The path leads downward through the hills. The forest gets thicker, and the signs of human touch are rare. The lone, large boulder surely draws attention. You can't guess its age, but the paths around suggest it was passed plenty of times already. You stop Ruffles to take a closer look. The remains of red paint are covering the eastern side. It's the same message as the one you saw at the southern crossroads. Don't enter. Danger ahead. You look down the dark road and hear the distant roar of a dragon. Yeah, I'm not ready for that. So even though the people went that way, I think the game has told me twice danger, and I'm like level 1. So let's not go. You take a look at your bundles, mount, and weapons, then think about the beasts of the woods. You may not be able to outrun them. I searched for the tracks I found at the watchtower. The hard heels can't be mistaken, and the travelers didn't mask their steps. They passed the rock from both sides, heading deeper into the forest. So I could travel west, or I could say no thank you. We could go to the east and talk to the enchantress. The first part of the trail is narrow and overgrown. The steep crag in the south divides the lush forest in half. You barely recognize any shapes in the entanglement of grays, browns, and greens. The northern landscape, while similarly impenetrable, is the exact opposite. The meadow turns into barren hills and mountains, barely covered by grass and bushes. Maybe the riding ibexes of the clanspeople from the growing mountains would get through such a barrier. There are no clans here. Indeed, there aren't. It says point at this icon to display an entire area at once. Okay, so you could just do this if you want to see everything. Oh, I see. Like the text box is kind of breaking up what I see. If you have a big picture, that's interesting. The road leads you downhill to the edge of a lake. The clearing around the dwelling is quiet, with no crickets, flies, or even toads. The grass is not even knee-high. There are no signs of a wharf or boats. The wall wasn't coated and has already been bitten by winds and rains. I look for an entrance. It says here it's getting late, better look for a place to sleep. We will. Right next to the gate, a gargoyle, or a stone look-alike, kneels on a slab. It's dark purple, almost black, with yellow, pointy teeth through its half-open mouth, has no tongue, and the creature doesn't even move an inch. The eyes have been replaced by crystals like red currant juice. Anyone home? Your voice is welcomed by the screeching of dozens of avian throats. They take off from behind the wall, heading toward the lake. After a few breaths, the eyes of the gargoyle go brighter. What's with all the ape shouts? Ye lost? The words are coming from the monster's mouth, though it remains still. Stand in front of me, I want to see your mug. The drawling voice belongs to a woman, but is lined with unnatural creaking. I step closer. The eyes don't rotate nor blink. So who are ye? Friendly. I'm Dr. Incompetent, the new Roadwarden. I hope you're having a great day. During the long pause, the glow of the gargoyle's eyes subside. Once they light up again, the voice isn't much softer. Well, good to see a new Roadwarden. You came to pick up some stuff? You're many days too early, or do you even know who I am? Oh, but of course. What do you call her? Oh, it's in my journal. Oh, he told me. Let's see. No. Treants in the heart of the forest, yeah. Asterion is the previous Roadwarden. Oh, let's see. Well, maybe not. I did get some information about this lady, but I don't remember what the guy at the inn called her. Enchanting. I don't know. I don't actually have her name, so I'm going to have to lie and just say Enchantress. You for real? Don't you know my name? I don't. So you lost your way and now you're wasting my time. You're lucky I'm not working. Remember, I meet with people only in the evenings or in the early mornings. Wait where you are. We're opening the gate. The monster's eyes darken again. Soon after, you hear heavy steps and the earth shakes. Something lifts the beam blocking the gate. You realize that your hand is already on the haft of your axe. I try to relax. I'm safe. One day, such instincts are going to save my life. The gate opens violently and rebounds with a loud thud, almost closing again. The creature in front of you is made of floating rocks that appear to be connected, but it's just an illusion. They could twist and bend in every direction. The eyeless sentinel faces you blankly. You've seen other golems in Havlavan endlessly helping with bothersome tasks, but you've no idea what makes them move. It lowers its slab-like hands and steps aside, making way for you. Its head rotates, following your steps, but other than that, it is motionless as a statue. I enter the yard. The house in front of you has a huge entrance, just large enough for a golem. The building is whitewashed, but the lime is aged and damaged. The tools are spread around in no particular order. The rocks resting on the top of the shed resemble golems. The garden patches covered with herbs and vegetables are neglected. It's quiet here. I approach the sitting golem. It seems dead, inactive, as city folk would call it, but the pneuma still makes its chunks float less than an inch away from one another. It doesn't react to your presence. Unlike the previous golem, this one bears engraved signs on its larger rocks. Their meaning is unclear to you, and you can't tell if they're a decoration or carriers of a spell. A leaf of the door opens. I'm going to use my knowledge. I know these letters. The signs represent regular words used in rites tablets. Their shapes are very old, angular, not adjusted to the softness of a quill. The words read as follows: hunt, prey, chase, meet, beast, run, bring, wait, and disguise. The golem's owner is standing behind you. Well, that'll be interesting, Heathrun, if it is Madame Rocky. I turn toward them. The woman is tall and stands upright, with her arms crossed and legs apart. She's more than 30, with a face touched by lack of sleep. She gives you a long look, observing your blade, hands, boots, forehead. Everything but your eyes. I greet ye. Without the distortion caused by the gargoyle, her strong voice isn't as disquieting. No surprise that it caught your eye, but don't disturb it. It's very much awoken, and will defend itself, or me, if it comes to it. I give her a better look. She's wearing a long, ragged robe, covered in stains. It used to be blue, but now is unevenly pale. She's barefoot, with skin covered with dust and dirt. Her dark hair was recently washed, but it's untidily spread on her shoulders, back, and chest. She wears no jewelry, belt, or buckles. Alright, playful, distanced, intimidating, vulnerable, friendly. I'm glad you have a moment to spare. I won't bother you for long. Journal updated, explore the peninsula. Let me just take a look at the whole screen for a moment. Okay, here I am inside this little place with golems. Hey, Tech Station, what's up, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. She looks at the ground and drawls out her words. I sure hope not. I'm not interested in chatter. If you need to bother me, speak in the tongue of dragons and barter. I don't serve stew. I don't offer baths. If you come here, I better get aught from it. She walks past you and cocks her head toward the golem who let you in. It turns around and shuts the gate. Good that you came at such an hour. Keep it up in the future. If you ever come here in the middle of the day, you'll stand outside looking at the doors like an ibex. And here I am, Eudocia. I think he did say that. I should have just written it down. The best and only enchantress in this corner of the world. I did try to call her enchantress. Her voice remains cold. Why are you here? Okay, so a few things to say. I'm trying to learn more about the peninsula. She leans away, frowning. I can't even begin to describe how much I hope Ye aren't here to exchange gossip. If ye crave it so much, ride south, to Pell to the north. The keeper is stiff like a broom, but offers a nice room. She glances at you, but her gray irises remain absent. Or, if you'd rather visit a cheerful place, ride north to Foggy Lake, or was it Foggy's Lake? Whatever. Foggy is the keeper. At least she's not as boring as the other guy. Let's see here. I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. She raises her chin, challenging your look. I know not where he may be, but if he wanted to be found, he'd let us find him. She glances at the gate. Anything else? I'm looking for a job. She stands still for a moment, then cocks her head to the side. I've got some stuff that could use another hand. You up for some danger if it comes to it? You nod and ask what sort of creature is bothering her. Nah, I meant riding and climbing. If you can do it without grabbing that axe of yours, fine. Now give me a moment. Well, I'm hoping to not grab that axe of mine because, I'm not good with it. She opens one of the heavy doors to her house, and you catch a glimpse of a messy bed and a floor covered with clothes. Oh, she's a clothes horse, huh? After a minute, she shows up with a large sack filled with rods made of smooth, clean bronze. Here's the gist of it. I need you to get 8 spots across the peninsula. Or get to 8 spots. High buildings, trees, mountainsides. I don't really travel much. She lets out a confident chuckle. So I can't hold your hand. I need one of them in white marshes in the wetlands far west of here. Other than that, you need to keep your eyes open. She takes one of the rods. Once you reach a good spot, place one of these as high as you can. I'll pay you in dragons. 2 for each one. But place at least 4 before you come to see me. I need as many of them out there as possible. So far, so good. What are they for? Well, there's magic in them, as ye can imagine. You weigh a rod in your hand. Even though it's more than 2 feet long, it's light, empty inside. You could bend it on your knee. The bag also contains a long hemp cord and a scrap of cloth. If I were to send my golems away, let's say a mile or 2 from here, they'd stop moving at all, waiting for me to show up. She approaches the nearest sentinel and touches its chest. They carry similar rods inside, so the plan is to give my orders better range, so to speak. I'm tired of depending on hirelings, especially since they no longer stop by. She leans against the golem with her arms crossed. Questions? How much time do I have? Oh, don't worry about it. She dusts off the golem's arm. Let's say before the leaves turn yellow. And I can be sure that you've no plans to raid the villages with an army of unstoppable sentinels, right? Her gray eyes give you a long, disquieting look. You could swear it's getting colder here. I won't ask for your trust, and I don't need it. Either help me or leave the rods and do your own stuff. Some of the locals might not be happy with me putting bronze rods on their rooftops. She gives you a puzzled look. Wardens do have their ways to get on people's good side, correct? I may be forced to pull some strings to get it done. 2 dragon bones won't be enough. Alright. Yeah, exactly. I'll just put some cell towers around. I'm going to roll the dice. You haggle for a bit, but her distrust is like a wall. She waves your arguments off. I'm not a merchant. I don't gather coins for the thrill of it. I'm putting almost 20 dragons on the table here. Should be enough. Do all 8 rods and I may prepare aught else for you. We have a deal. She avoids your eyes. Great. Just don't die on the road. This bronze cost me many favors. And be sure to leave one of the rods in white marshes. Have you ever been to the shortcut? Only once, she admits slowly. And it's not a good memory. Her brief tale is rather vague. She once had to use her golems to travel to the other side, seeking a remedy for her stomachache. The beasts were afraid of the noise they make. She points at the massive stone legs of her creations, but the monkeys in the far west were too dumb even for that. They kept throwing things at us. Even poop. Well, that's monkeys for you. She pauses, making a disgusted grimace. We couldn't reach them or scare them away. You ask what happened next, but she crosses her arms. I was told it's better to ignore them, let them get used to one's sight, but my stomach was better already, so we just took the long way back. Hey, Morrow, what's up, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. I've heard about some bandits. Don't they bother you? She puts her hands on her sides and straightens up, displaying her unusual height. Is this another sick game of hers? If so, tell her I'm not interested in her head or her offers. You notice the sudden movement of her golem. Okay. So what's your story? Why do you live so far from any village? She looks around. No. Fine. She stares in the distance. I have some questions about your golems. She walks around the closest sentinel and observes it like a farmer would a donkey before a purchase. Isn't it clear what they are? Furniture that walks and works. They carry rocks and logs, hunt, kind of, and protect this place while I rest. What else is there to say? Do they talk? Eudocia still moves her lips, but her words are coming from the stone creature, which doesn't move an inch. No more than the gargoyle you've seen. The voice is deep, distorted by an echo. They don't need meat or bones and listen to my commands, but have no understanding of what's happening around them. To create a sentient creature, you'd need a human shell and a whole lot of necromancy. The golem raises its hands and shows you its palm, and I'm not going to touch that. She then mentions that her creation isn't much of a messenger. It needs to remain close to her. Just look at it. The golem covers its non-existent mouth. It has no eyes, snout, ears. Seeing the world through its head is like putting your eyeball into a rose bush. It takes pneuma, and the further away it is, the more exhausting it gets. It's so loud when it walks. Don't monsters react to its presence? She lets out a chuckle. They flee from them, as they would from trolls. They can't stalk their prey or jump on them from a bush, but when they don't move for long, beasts take them for rocks. It's not like they need to breathe, it just sits still, waiting for a roe deer to get close. Hey Jamal, what's up, my friend? I'm so glad you enjoyed that Frostpunk guide. That game is great. I'm looking forward to the second one. Absolutely, Jamal. Manor Lords is also amazing, and that guide is going to keep going and going because, boy, that game just gets better the more I play it. Thanks for subscribing, my friend. The golem's eye suddenly gets brighter. It jumps forward and punches the air. It lands with the sound of thunder. That's why I need them to be so large, the enchantress explains. I can't give them muscles. The speed I give them is pure pneuma. Being firm and heavy helps. She disregards your mention of the wrath of the herds. True, I make more mess than most humans would, but that's one of the reasons why I stay away from the villages. Being all alone, I give the beast time to get used to my walls, and my sentinels know to stay away from unicorns and pebblers. That's an interesting question, Jamal. They're just different games. Manor Lords is slower paced, medieval setting, not as brutal at all as Frostpunk, but it's not as precise. It's still in early access. There's a lot to develop. Frostpunk is difficult, brutal, but is really well designed and balanced and is completely finished. It's a much faster game. You don't have as much time to dilly-dally in Frostpunk as you do in Manor Lords. How do you make one? I fill each rock with pneuma, bind them together. She pauses, then waves it off. You won't build one anyway. Like alchemists, enchanters have their own secrets, but I've got no way of sharing my talents with others. Is it for sale? One day, or so I hope, she points at a golem's hand. One wrong order and it'll tear your head away or kick over a house. It won't ever be safe, but the dead make for bad customers, and I won't be blamed for others' stupidity. Her further answers come in greater detail, but they're rather complex. From what you understand, she plans to invent a set of very specific commands that could be quickly learned, then bind them in a wand, binding it to the creature. I'm still not sure if it's the safest solution. If a wand was taken by a reaver, stuff could get ugly. Hey, Crispy Bacon, good evening, my friend. Let's change the topic. The roads around the watchtower are in terrible shape. Why don't your golems look after them? Why would I bother? You expect her to continue, but her question is earnest. The paths are getting overgrown. Soon, getting to the other villages will be close to impossible. She twirls her hair, looking in the direction of the tower. It may be for the better. She starts listlessly, then shakes her head gently. You may be right. I hoped the trail would take care of itself with traders and all. But the years are getting emptier. Still, I need my workers to seek food and to guard my walls. She speaks mostly to herself. I could bring you some rations in return. She observes your boots and crosses her arms. The more bronze rods there are spread across the peninsula, the easier it is for me to send the golems into the woods. For now, let's say 20 rations. I guess gentler roads will get more food anyway, so I don't need to bring ye to bring me any barrels. I'll think about it. I don't have 20 rations. I have one ration. What's with the gargoyle? Can't an enchantress show off her trophy? She gives you a proud smile. My sentinels took it down years ago. The tribe of old Pagos is fond of statues. So I have my own, like in the old days, long before monks came to the north. Seeing your puzzled look, she twirls her hair. A dead gargoyle on the road or by a village gate was meant to scare off evil spirits. I don't know about that, but it's a sight sure taught the local beasts who they're dealing with. Okay, what can you tell me about enchanting? She looks at your hands and starts to twirl her hair. Not really. I don't know how I do the stuff I do. As a kid, I put pneuma into my toys. I made my earthen sparrow fly, and my whistle gave a tune without being blown. I practiced for years, but by doing, not by understanding. She puts a hand on her hips and observes her clean nails. I can't teach stuff that's in my fingers or my eyes or my breath. It's just part of me. Can you fill an item of mine with pneuma? That's not how this works. She points at her golems. Her nails are short and clean, and her hands are soft. I work all the time, but each item takes me days, sometimes a full season. The tribes bring me things to enchant in the early spring and collect them a year later. I've got to... She blinks a few times, not sure what to say. Her gray eyes widen. Imagine stuff. It takes great focus. You mentioned that you'd generously reward her, but she only shrugs. You don't plant, you don't build. I won't eat dragon bones. For now, do your warden duties and come by the end of autumn. Maybe I'll have time to get something done for you after the thaws. Hey, I'm a prod. Good evening, my friend. Thank you so much for the 10 months. Good to see you back. What if I'm in desperate need? She rolls her eyes. Ye and everyone else. Alright, so here's the question I really wanted to ask her. I need a place to rest. I have only 2 hours before dusk. I need a place to rest. Can I spend a night here? Even though she draws out her words with frustration, she speaks with ease, as if she's reciting a memorized speech. I know how harsh the woods can be, but I don't offer shelter to travelers. I don't want to look behind my own shoulder for hours or use my golems to protect ye. Travel north or south, look for a tavern or an inn. You'll find a safe hearth there. She blinks and crosses her arms. And we're both adults. Don't tell me that I could bind ye with a rope or take away your blades. The less I have to touch ye, the better. Okay. Do you have anything interesting to sell? Well, I'm not a trader. I do the stuff people ask me about, and they're not for sale. She glances at the house, then toward a pocket at her hips. There's but one tool that I'm willing to part with, for 10 bones, but it's for spellcasters only. She reaches out to you. On her palm you see a flat, small pebble, bluish, but in no way unusual. You put it in your mouth and press it to your palate, no chewing. If you're a sorcerer, it'll restore your pneuma. What if it's used by someone who still has pneuma in them or can't use magic? Oh, you don't want to do that. She grabs the ends of her hair. It'll boil your blood and rip your skin apart. Each shell is like a bottle for pneuma. It has its limits. You can train to contain more of it, like I've been doing for more than 20 years now, but there's no magical rock that's going to do it for you. So I don't think I can't remember if my character can do magic. I think I'm just smart, but not magical. I'm a prod. No, gosh, I hope not. It's 50 Shades of Golem, my friend. Why a pebble? Wouldn't a potion be easier to use? Do I smell of smoke and mushrooms? I'm not going to play around with flasks and lembics. She shakes the rock. This one won't break, won't scatter, won't spoil. Perfect for a traveler or any buyer, really. She steps away and adjusts her dirty robe. It works, and it won't hurt you. If you're smart with it, it's a lifesaver. I'll think about it. I found a barren field that may be affected by a curse. Do you have anything I could use to see if I'm right? A cursed field? Where'd you find this stuff? As you explain briefly, she observes your boots. I know the place, but she steps away and approaches the garden patch by her house. She observes it for a moment, then kneels down, paying no attention to her robe, and reaches for a wooden spade. What she digs out looks like a tree sapling with 2 leaves that are as large as a hand and a thin, elastic stalk. It's shorter than your head. Would you look at that? Still green. Give me 2 dragons and I'll put it in a bag with soil. It should survive at least a couple of days. How does it work? She straightens up. Well, you plant it, of course. Wait for half an hour and you'll see. If it grows an inch, she frowns, raises the plant to her eyes and grunts, forget it. If it bursts into bloom, the soil is enchanted. If it withers, it's cursed. Stays the same, no pneuma. She lowers it again. Just be careful when you do it. It loves fogs. So it's a plant that grows by magic, yes, and it costs 2 dragons. How many dragons do I have? Is there an easy way to see that? Let me click on my inventory really fast. I have 3 dragons. Oof. I'm a prod. I think a pebble might be an insult to the golems, but I don't know if they have a sense of humor. I have the bronze rods. I have a box from the dolmen. I have a little bit of food. Do I want to give all my money to test something to see if it's cursed when I might need my money to stay someplace for sleeping? I'm not sure. Good point, I'm a prod. Why do you even have such a thing? Are there many magic fields around? What? No, she snorts, but these plants are the only stuff I can think of right now. I'm trying to make a plant that grows without sunlight, using just water, soil, and pneuma. I'll know I'm there once it starts to bear fruit. She glances at your nose. I swear, don't even mention mushrooms. You ask her about the purpose of all this, but she just plays with her hair and looks toward the gate. Just a hobby of mine. I'll think about it. Okay. So I need to seek shelter, I guess. But I can't do it here. It's too dangerous to stay here. Okay. So let's go back and let's travel. So how much time would it take me to get here? 3 hours. That's not... I don't have enough time. I can get to the dolmen. Oh, it says I can't get there before nightfall. That's sad. I can get to the abandoned watchtower. But the issue with this is I don't know if there's a place to stay. Like, I'd have to chop down the door, which probably wouldn't make it safe anymore. Hey, Ryan, what's up, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. Now, she said I could go north, but I don't know if I can get north in time to make it to the inn. I definitely can't get back here. Let's see. What has a nighttime shelter? Not that. That does. That does. I can't stay here. This has a water source and a place to fish. I think it is dangerous, Heath Run. I don't know if it means I die, but it's probably not safe. I'm just going to go north, I guess. With no trees blocking your view, you look at the bright and colorful stars. The simple bridge is centuries old, bitten by time. It makes you think of the dolmen you saw south of here. The torrent here is deep and fast, with plenty of fish. The boat is destroyed beyond repair, rotten, falling to pieces with holes in the floor and on the sides, overgrown with fungi and moss. The thick shrubs lining the path are covered with thorns. Small birds are jumping from one twig to another, pecking at the brown berries. Knowing from the herbaria that the fruits are safe, you eat a few bittersweet ones as well. I'll go ahead and use my knowledge. I think I've read something about these fish. You see dozens of red and gray shells. As you walk by, they stay close, following your steps. According to the testimonies from a murder trial you've read about, they have long and sharp teeth, eat flesh, and could scrap your skull clean in a minute or so. Oh, great! So they are like piranhas or something. Okay, well then let's travel. It's too late to explore an unfamiliar area. That's scary, so I could try to seek shelter, and it's too dangerous to sleep here. You can find the closest shelter at Tulia's camp, but the creatures of the night are surely going to attack you. So if I travel, it looks like I'm going to lose a whole heart and die, which is not good. So, you know, first time playing the game, so I'm learning. I traveled too far in one day, basically, that I shouldn't have gone so far away from a place to stay for the night. I can't just pitch a tent. I do have a healing potion. But I don't think it matters given the fact that I need to travel so far. I can't explore an unknown place. Let me go here. Oh, I can't get there before nightfall at all. Okay, so I'll look around for an hour. Maybe I could find something of use. Yeah, I don't have time to do that. So I have to seek shelter. Let's just see what happens. Travel. The pyre is no more. The stench barely lingers. The soldiers are preparing bowls of gruel. Oh, I'm dead. You're on the verge of death and affects your appearance. Tulia welcomes you with a smile. Is everything all right? I need to sleep. I have more questions. So I can ask her some stuff, but I need to just sleep right away. Thanks. Sleeping on the ground. So I'm going to get hurt even further if I sleep on the ground, which is... I don't even know how that works. So maybe what I need to do then is... I approached a barrel with water. The barrel was recently filled by the soldiers. You fish out the few drifting insects. So I can't really clean myself here. I step away. Here's where I guess I need to drink my potion. Okay. You vaguely recognize some of the local fruity tastes. There's a sort of unpleasant bitterness to it, maybe wormwood, and every sip makes it even more strange and disgusting. You finish the bottle quickly and prepare your water skin to rinse your mouth, your shell feels refreshed, stronger. An ecstatic warmth fills your limbs, and you can't help but smile for a moment. Well, that was good enough. I guess it is called roughing it. So now I could sleep, but I'm going to get hurt. We could talk to Tulia, though. Do you have any idea about what happened to the ruined village to the west? Nah, there were goblins around the walls, so we never went there, but I was told the wrath of the herds crushed it. Maybe 10 years ago? Her companion agrees with a nod. If there were any survivors, they're surely gone by now. Maybe they moved to other settlements or left the peninsula, or they got caught by bandits. Have you ever encountered the bandits from the north? She lets out a sad sigh. So there are other bandits in the woods after all. Her companion hits his forehead with his palm. This peninsula really hates us. We can't make a dent in its shell. Tulia puts a hand on his shoulder and looks back at you. Thanks for telling us, Roadwarden. If I survive long enough to report to someone, I'll be sure to mention it. Maybe I should learn more about them first. Sure. Good luck with that. The man with a bird chuckles. Did you ever enter the road leading through the heart of the woods? Oh, we were advised not to. Have you seen this huge gate in the west, made of rocks, very tall? We met a guard there named Quentin, maybe? A kind soul, but a bit slow. He almost begged us not to enter the woods, so we took the longer route. That's where all the settlements are anyway, her companion chips in. We didn't miss much. I see. Shoot. Thanks. That's all I got. Sleep. Like most people, you wake in the middle of almost every night. Before your second sleep comes, you spend an hour or two taking care of your belongings, shell, and soul. Some people spend this time with their friends, families, or lovers, but your routine is different. If you don't have to take care of essential tasks, okay, I can stretch my muscles. I could spend some time outside. Hey, Mr. Zev, what's up, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. I could check on my horse, or I could stay where I am in. Okay. So let's stretch our muscles, I guess. Hopefully this recovers some strength. It did not. Your back begs you to stand up. A monkey, not larger than your head with brown and yellow fur, is running on the beams of the wall, but disappears once it notices your gaze. You prepare Ruffles for the journey ahead. Let's approach the barrel. And, okay, I can't get cleaner with it. I approach her. She's all done. Alright, let's travel. So now that some time has passed, we could try to press on and get around here, I guess. Or we could curl around and try to go to the north. Hey, Chef Smitty, good evening, my friend. Good to see you. I could try to chop down the door to the watchtower and put one of the bronze rods up there, if that would help. I hate going here, because if I can't do anything here, it'd be a waste, but let's travel. Alright, so let's go to the northwest part of the village. The colorful grass covers the entire fenced pasture. The large stone placed in the middle suggests it could be a playground for ibexes, or maybe it's just an old garden. You see a couple of small sheds, a latrine, and a single building to the south, completely burnt down. All of these places were cleaned out by scavengers. Ruffles doesn't want to approach the large ruins in the north. The terrible stench of feces and rotting food scares you off as well. The paths are covered with goblin footprints. It's daytime, so the pack should be asleep. If the beasts were active, they would try to scare you off, or to hunt down your mount. This is their territory, and once they wake up, you will face a furious enemy. I go somewhere else. Quietly. Okay. Northeast? The debris was partially moved outside of the destroyed houses, but you find nothing of value. The table, cupboards, shelves, and bits and pieces were carefully ransacked. The wildly growing vegetables and herbs are the only remnants of the abandoned gardens. You spot fresh human footprints at the entrance to the latrine, most of which lead to and from the center of the village. You notice a simple set of tools leaned against a pile of rubble: a wooden spade and a shovel, a pointed stick, a hoe with a bone head, a stone axe. All of them are too old and too awkward to bother with transporting them around, but you'll know where to find them if you ever need them in the future. Okay, so there's some tools here, good to know. Your stomach makes you let out a painful groan. I guess I should eat? I'll eat. Alright, so now my nourishment is 3 out of 4. I'll go to the main square. Journal updated the ruined village. In every village, the main square is the fanciest area, meant to charm the travelers, yet this is way more than you expected. The houses are as big as in Havlavon, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, are made of an expensive coated wattle. The tiles for the roofs also had to be brought here from a different settlement. You peek inside the 3 smaller buildings, the rotting remains of their former splendor. The birds, living in dozens of nests, respond to your arrival with a quiet commotion. You don't find even a single dragon bone, nor a tool or a piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotten. You're surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings, and garbage. That's great. The well also stinks. It has no bucket, but you'd be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relieved themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their death while climbing up the walls. Suddenly, you hear some sounds coming from the largest building. You stop and touch your aching stomach. I should check it out. I prepare my axe. You step cautiously toward the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candlelight shows you broken furniture, yet no signs of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I did not want it to come to this, but stay where you are. Whatever you put inside, be it a shoe, a hand, or your damn thinker, it'll get a bolt. Okay? Friendly. Relax, stranger. I'm a Roadwarden, and you chose this place to visit. From all that there are, even outlaws don't come here. He pauses, then goes on before you respond. It may be you're telling the truth, so let's say this. My little ballista here is pulled and ready, but you won't do anything stupid, right? No running, no jumping around, show your hands. The man's voice lacks confidence, and his accent is tricky for you. He could be from the distant south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you understand one another. You don't hear any other movements, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the doorframe and make sure that your knife is well hidden. I walk inside. The dense smell of urine hits you with full force, while the tools and utensils are hard to distinguish from rubbish. Hey, Undead Works. Good evening, my friend. Good to see you. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I hope you're well. I mean, I am doing well. There's a small problem. This place smells of urine, but, we'll see what's going on here. The route to the upper floor is blocked by the collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rusting iron and steel on the ground, detached from now destroyed barrels. The scavenger is sitting on a blanket in front of the tent, pointing at the floor with his loaded crossbow. Not a short man, though a bit skinny. He's tanned, dark hair, and has seen his share of struggles. There are long claw scars on his left cheek, and another one that would divide his eyebrow in half if it hadn't been consumed by a fire, just like the rest of his forehead. His clothes are untainted by vanity. He's barefoot in a dirty linen shirt with rolled-up sleeves and simple pants that use a cord for a belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and tangled. I sit on the stairs with raised hands. I'm not a threat. I stand near the door, watching his weapon. I'm prepared. Yeah, I'm a prod. A regular day indeed, right? Hey, QZC, what's up, my friend? Yeah, this game is really cool so far. I don't know if I can trust this guy. He follows your gaze. Not a good way to make the air warmer, I try to be safe, that's all. And I can't let you stay in my shelter. You better ride ahead. I already piled up whatever hasn't rotten. The candle lights are dancing on his burnt face and arms. I saw your horse. Maybe you could help him. Huh? Me, huh? What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from the north. Okay, so I got a lot of questions. I'm looking for another Roadwarden, a man known as Asterion. I've never met him, but I surely heard his name many times. He vanished long before I got to the coast. At first, people were asking about him. Now they think he's dead. Listen, he scratches his thighs nervously. I'm hungry. So damn hungry. I can't hunt or fish with all the ape men around. Can you share anything, Roadster? I may be a drifter, but I wouldn't beg if I had not lost my bags on the road. Here I have a few prunes, a sausage, and some nuts. Should be enough for tomorrow as well. That's all of my food, I think. Take these cereals and crackers. With some water, you'll have a gruel. So, I could give him a lot, but unfortunately I don't have a lot. So, you know, I'll give him enough for a gruel. It's all I've got. I can't spare too much, unfortunately. He lets out a relieved breath. I gave away one ration. I may even boil it. After a moment of hesitation, he grabs a cracker. Without you, I'd have to run after birds with my ballista, but I need to save the bolts for the ape men, and because of those stinkers, I can't roast here, and raw meat makes me want to puke. Thank ye. Yeah, I think gruel is reasonable. I mean, it's better than zero. After a couple of solid bites, he puts your gifts in 2 wooden bowls. Now, Roadster, he says with a full mouth. If you have questions, ask. I'll say a lot to make you get me out of here. This village makes me sick, and so do you. No. Have you searched the entire village? Are there no hidden treasures left? You came to the wrong place. Time, moisture, and the damn boars devoured all the loot. I've been here for a couple of days now, and all that's left is the iron I carried here. I was planning to get back here with some hired muscle and clear the collapsed buildings, but I doubt it's worth the time and risk. How do you keep the goblins away? I got a trick or two to keep me safe. A little something that scares them away even without magic. But I tell you what, his smile turns into a wide grin. Help me get out of here, and I'm going to share some of it with you. Okay? Are you sure there are no undead around? He nods. I've seen none. People say it's been less than 10 years since the herds came here, but I don't know if anyone bothered with raising the pyres. If not, the dead are all roaming in the forest now. He clicks his tongue with frustration. It may be that there's a walker somewhere under the debris, waiting to break through like a dragon in an egg. He looks straight at you. You'd better not dig. Do you have any idea what happened here? Well, I won't guess, but I saw many ruins. There's no treasure and skeletons here, so this place means as much as dirt. Someone was barking too loud, so the beasts broke through and made them quiet again. He clicks his tongue, and that's that. Talking about nature's fury brings bad luck, don't you know? Okay. I've heard about bandits. Have you seen any hideouts nearby? Nah, I think they're in the north or east. I stuck to the western road and no shell bothered me. Sorry, I can't help you. This village makes me sick. Journal updated the ruined village. Me too. In the guts and the thinker. Gets easier with time if you're patient. Must be the air, the smell of death. Death and ape-man piss. He pats his stomach while laughing. Alright, what do you want, man? What do you want me to travel to, and what will you give me? Let me explain first. I was in Howler's Dell, the closest village to the east and north, and people there are nice, you know? Not like in old Pagos. They're all boring and grimmer than a crow. but they cry coin for everything, and damn good coin. I left, wanted to look around the ruins, see if there's anything left, then moved to Pelt, and hire the hunters to help me here. No luck. A bunch of griffs jumped my pack bird. I just bought it, he spits on the floor, fast and nimble, but not brave enough to listen to me when all that screeching and scratching started, so it ran away with my bags. A few fell on the ground and I pulled them here, but you see how it is. I won't travel around with a tent on my back. He taps the crossbow with his fingers. I need maybe a day more, aye, just a day, and I'll have all the iron scrapped from the barrels so I can move forward. But I can't take all my stuff alone. And without me around, the ape men are going to break in and steal all my stuff. I need to stay here, but since you have a horse, come back tomorrow and help me return to Howler's Dell. How about it? I just need to know that the road is safe. Safe as it can be, I mean. I know. This village has like a curse on it, QZC, so it's like there's goblins in the north of the village. There's dead people everywhere from a long time ago, apparently. It stinks. There's a curse. So it affects you. If you're here too long, you start to actually get sick. So there are some different dynamics. Like, you have health, you have hunger, you have appearance, you have armor, and you get into combat and stuff like that. But it's just like choices and dice rolls and stuff. So it's a real, like, kind of narrative-driven game with some RPG and survival mechanics built in. What exactly do you want me to do? I need ye to make sure there's no danger hiding on the road. From here to Howler's, or rather, I know there is some danger, but as long as you can get there and safely return, I'm sure we can handle some roaming monsters. He theatrically rubs his hands together. This ballista has hit more beast skulls than I have fingers, and I never lost a finger, Roadster, only the toes. Maybe to prove it, he starts to count on his fingers. So see if the road is clear. Then come here tomorrow. We'll pack my stuff on your horse and move out. But don't come when it's close to evening. We're going to need 3 hours on our feet, and I won't push through the night. Even sleeping next to an ape-man tribe is safer, he chuckles. And don't make me wait for too long. I can wait for a couple of days if I find some food, but if you don't get back, I'll have to risk it no matter what. Why Howler's Dell? If you want to go south, we should travel to Pell to the north. I mean, I see your point, but I've never been there. Can they afford my iron? Do they have the means to pay for it? I need coins to find a handy bunch that will walk south with me, and I need a new staff and bolts. I know the village, it's a nice place, and even has a smithy of sorts. I've had a chance to take a look, though. It's a large inn, a safe one. They seem to be rich and have enough hunters to guide you south. You can use iron to barter. Well, it's a shorter path, I guess. Fewer spots to get surrounded by corpsers. If you're sure it's the best option, fine. I'll trust a roadster's judgment. I don't work for free. I have ways to pay ye, but don't worry. I can give ye dragons. But you have to sell the iron first, so I'll need a bit of time, you see. 5 for a short escort would be plenty, I'd say. But if you want, I'll give you a secret jar of mine, a very fine mixture that scares ape men away. Works on pebblers, too. When you ask if all this stench of urine is somehow related to this potion, he just winks and chuckles. I'd also like to learn more about the villages you visited. He seems surprised. I mean, aye, sure, but I don't have connections there, you know, just my eyes. He starts to hum. You know, a longer pause. When you get to Howler's, you'll meet the mayor there for sure. Thighs. And whatever you do, don't ask her where she got her coins from, aye? She's rich. Stupid rich. But don't ask her how this happened. Trust me. He scratches his beard with a mournful look. Fine, it's a deal. I'll escort you. This is an easy job, it seems like. Thanks, Roadster. Just come tomorrow. I'll make it worth your while. Tell me about yourself. He gives you a sullen glance. What for? I've no legacy to keep alive in tales. I may tell you this and that after you take me out of here. Alright, time for me to leave, buddy. Okay, so you could see now I've explored most of this area, the closer you are to the village and the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gastric juices hits your mouth and your forehead hurts. You start to stumble. So, we're going to go ahead and walk away from the walls. Leaning on your mount, you go outside, keeping your mouth shut. After a few minutes, your eyes get clearer. So we're going to leave. You stop and touch your stomach. Where do you want to go? We're going to travel, and we're going to go back to the Pell to the north. All we have to do is come back here tomorrow, but my vitality is so low. There's a long time before dusk. But I need to figure out, like, you know, how to get my vitality back. The guard ignores your arrival. As you ride in, the other hunters spread across the wall, observing the area. You hear the clinking of tools coming from the armorer's workshop. Let's go talk to the innkeeper. Let's see, any leftovers? Not today, maybe tomorrow. Okay. I'd like to ask about something. He sighs. Eudocia. Oh, she's crazy. She lives in a lonely house all by herself, skinny and dirty like a corpse eater, surrounded by golems. Never smiles, never cries. One of those. She never leaves her home, and if you see it from far away, it looks abandoned. A few times a year, people travel to her and trade barrels of food for magic items. How about Slice? People say she's a good mare, but she's rich from birth, so also careless. She doesn't know the struggle, the hunger and dirt, so fancies her clothes more than one should. She thinks she keeps her village safe, even though it's the druids who do all the work. He looks down, but finally speaks again. She may be frivolous, but isn't stupid. If you're smart, better keep your eyes open. How about, can I ask you about vitality? I need to get fixed. I don't know them. Let's see. This is pretty good information for now. What was the guy's name? Let me see what my journal says. My quest is escort the scavenger. I met a scavenger. Oh, he didn't even tell me his name, did he? Oh, interesting. I haven't seen The Lower Depths. Do you mean the Kurosawa film is also called The Lower Depths, or does it have a different name? I've seen a bunch of Kurosawa films. Yojimbo, Seven Samurai, Ron, Dreams, I guess. Oh, okay, cool. That sounds good. I should check it out. Thank you for the recommendation, my friend. Alright, so I'd like to just... How about... No. Let's change the topic. I need something. I could buy food, right? I can't afford the crossbow. Cool, thank you, my friend. I cannot heal up here. I don't really even know how to heal up. Maybe just sleep in a good bed, I guess. But there's nothing here. How far back does this go? Back to when I was talking. Okay, so... that's all I need. I'll go outside. I'll go to the well. I can wash. So I get a little bit of appearance. I could step away. I can go to the well. No. Let's travel. So at this point, I just have to return tomorrow. But what I really need to do is make sure I have enough time to get back to the Pell to the north to sleep. I can't sleep at her camp anymore because it's too painful. So I learned the name of the guy that lives here. Maybe I can try to get inside this tower. Oh, you need 2 vitality to smash through the door. Yeah, and I can't yell for the guy who's guarding this. So let's just travel then. And let's go back to the old bridge. So we know that the fish here are like piranhas or something. How much time do I have? I have 7 hours. Okay. So it's going to take me 3 hours to get back. So I got to save enough time. I could find something interesting. After what feels like an eternity of searching around the boat, the banks, the shrubs, you sit down on the bridge to take a break, then realize you haven't actually looked beneath it. You kneel on the grass and look into the darkness. Among the cobwebs and bugs, you spot an old piece of fabric pinned under a rock. You pull it out and find a rotting, torn pouch that contains a single dragon bone. Well, not bad. You make sure you haven't missed the other ones in the dirt, but if they ever existed, they've rolled down and sunk for good. I throw the pouch away and stand up. Well, we got some money. All right, so let's travel, and let's move up this way. The gentle road leads downhill, getting greener and less rocky the farther north you get. Just in case, your eyes run toward a few drier parts of the meadow, and you instantly shout at Ruffles to make haste. Uh-oh. A pack of short-haired wolves, at least 20 members strong, is chasing after you. Their coats are a mixture of yellow, black, and white spots, as if someone threw mud and paint at them. They move toward the road with a human-like speed, and you realize only some of them are running straight at you. They're trying to cut through my path. If it wasn't for your palfrey, the beasts would have already caught up with you. Their trap was perfectly set up, not leaving you any path of escape. Your terrified mount is disciplined enough to stay on the beaten path, and even though one of the big-eared wolves almost sinks its teeth into your mount's thigh, you manage to squeeze between the hunters. For the next few minutes, you do your best to get further away, and while your gallop is indeed faster, the wolves easily shorten distance by moving through the sparse forest. You ride past a wooden cabin placed in the clearing at the bottom of a rock face, but you can't stop while the pack is at your back. Maybe I have something I could use here. You think about your sacks and bundles, but the pack won't wait for you to sort things out. The group gets larger the further you go, as if even more of its members, previously hidden among the trees and grasses, now join the hunt. I know, Prob, we need the mount to go fast. Usually it's fast enough. Allowing their tired family members to slow down, you may be able to lose them after some time, but scaring or wounding some of them may force them to give up on their prey sooner. So my axe doesn't have enough range, I don't have a crossbow, and I don't have a potion, so I have nothing to fight them off with. You focus on the road ahead, forcing your mount to speed up whenever a beast tries to catch it. After a few minutes, you leave the hills and enter the grasslands of a valley, but the pack doesn't give up on you yet. At least their numbers have stopped growing. You're already outside of their territory, and the handful of spotted, colorful shells also seem tired and are forced to stay on the beaten path. Without a palfrey, I'd be dead already. You get out of the valley and follow another narrow path through the hills and trees, clearly shaped by humans, at least in part. The leaves and rocks start to blur into a vague memory, but after another few minutes, the howls stop. You don't slow down just yet. Those were some stubborn wolves. Okay, we barely made it. You reach a gentle open path, seeing a lake to the west and hearing a gentle creak ahead of you. Ruffles is exhausted but patient, more happy to survive than it is angry at your wanderlust. At least you can hope the pack will move to a different place during the night. I better get out of the saddle and let it rest before I move forward. The air is humid, but fresh, vitalizing. The light touches the road and shrubs, blocked only by the single willow, wild and untrimmed. You're by a lake, too large for you to see its other bank, but the local soil isn't too fertile. There are only a few trees on the horizon, while the struggling bushes and grasses fight with layers of rocks. The path leading farther north is green, bright, and calming. A gray rabbit is cleaning its fur near the brook, but the sound of hooves makes it hop toward the nearest shrub. Right after it sinks into the leaves, you hear it squeal, cut off quickly. Whatever its hunter was, it leaves behind only the rustling of the thicket and a trail of blood. Yikes! You wait for a long minute with a hand on your axe, but the creature doesn't return. You relax a bit, then turn toward the stone statue of a young woman. Oh yeah, you could see it right there. I ride a bit closer to it. Such a monument would be a better fit for a temple or a rich city folk's house. Here, without any cover, it's already losing its shape from the rains and dust. Chunks of the face and hair have already broken off. It has detailed eyes and human-like proportions, and the clothes are like fabric, petrified by a spell. The statue carries the usual traveling equipment, a walking staff, a gambeson, simple pants now covered by leaves. It's a shame to see it deteriorating, or I look at the pedestal. Maybe someone left a valuable offering here. Yeah, indeed, right? It's a shame. You observe its delicate face and broken fingers, the last bits of which still hold the staff. You wonder why someone would place such a thing here. It may be a statue of a long-gone hero. It was made in the likeness of a person who placed it here. She wanted to be remembered. She welcomes the travelers heading to the sea. Someone had to drop it after their wagon broke. I think it marks a place of great importance. I shrug. All that matters is that it's pretty. I mean, we can make our own story. She welcomes travelers. There's no answers to find in the statue's absent eyes. I should get rid of these branches. Clear the space in front of the statue. What for? There may be something valuable hidden beneath it. The locals may appreciate someone looking after their relics. I want to make it clear. There's a new Roadwarden around, someone who cares. That's right. I clean it up. You dismount and approach the bushes. You try to push them away, but their stems are thick and healthy, crowded with insects and spiderwebs. Thankfully, you see no thorns, and the touch of a leaf doesn't make your finger itchy. How much time do I have? Okay, I have 6 hours. That's enough time. In about half an hour, I could use my axe to cut down the bushes. You tether Ruffles to the tree, letting it choose between drinking, grazing, and napping. You prepare your equipment, keeping an eye on the bush where you saw the rabbit's last moments. You use your weight to move the plants to one side, then cut right above the ground. The stems are healthy and flexible, so getting through them is rough, but you have enough strength to deal with them in a couple of minutes, then throw them into the lake. The work goes on for a bit, but once you're done, the statue stands in its former glory. A couple of old offerings are still on the pedestal, polished rocks, bone figures, and moldy bowls and plates that used to store food. In one vessel, you see a dragon bone. It's dark and could be older than a generation, but it would surely be accepted by a merchant. So I could take it or leave it. So, money is good, but I'll leave it. The coin was left here for a good reason. I should leave it behind. All right. I consider washing myself in the stream. The brook would hardly cover your feet, but you could sit on the pebbles and splash yourself with water. I can wash. Great. I step away. Okay. Oh, I guess my fish trap is gone, or maybe it still remains at the other place, or maybe it was only a one-use item. I thought I had a fish trap at some point. I'll save it. And let's see here. Let's check out the map. I could continue going north, To get back would take 5 hours. Oh god, I gotta make it home. The lights are promising a refuge. The guards have bows and spears in their hands, and some rush to the gate only to close it again right after you ride inside. Bored with life, Roadwarden? One of them grumbles. Hadn't you noticed it's almost dark? I get off my horse and enter the inn. Do I have anything you'd like to buy? No, he does. No, I don't. I need to sleep here. How much does it cost? Right. So I could rent for a night, and I need to do this. It's 1 dragon bone to sleep in a room, and it gives you, it's a comfy bed with a clean blanket in an isolated chamber. You'll also get a large breakfast. Okay, great. A wash tub with water and soap and some cloves to wash your teeth. Good, I like to wash my teeth. So this actually boosts my appearance to 3, will boost my vitality, and I don't lose any nourishment. So I'm going to pay the money. I need to get my health back somehow. You hear a thunderous roar. You rise to your feet and rub the sleep from your eyes. The doors are opening. People are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion. Something is on the other side of the wall trying to get through, and the guards are fighting it off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. Thanks to their light, you see the large, furry paws placed on the top wall walk. As far as you can tell, the beast is but a single leap away from getting inside. It's not their first fight. They know what they're doing, or I need to help them. Okay, so this is a stupid idea. I'm not good at fighting, but I should try to help them. It might disrupt my sleep and take my vitality. I'm close to dying, so I don't know enough about this game. I did just save it. This could kill me doing this, but I'll try to help. You look for your gambeson and blade, still a bit foggy in your thoughts, and once you find them, you struggle to get inside the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you holding a candle. "You're a guest, stay here," he says without a shadow of hesitation. "My team has no time to worry about outsiders." Just after his words, you hear cheerful laughter from the wall. Judging by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons, the beast is fleeing. Well, I shouldn't expect people will need my help all the time, or if I had been there, maybe we could have caught it. Yeah, that's right, maybe they won't need my help all the time. So sometimes, too, about this game, there are dice rolls that are happening behind the scenes, so I don't know exactly how that would have played out. Maybe it could have gone differently. The small room is quiet and far away from unwanted eyes. You take a calm bath, rest on a soft mattress, look through the window, and enjoy the minutes of safety. In the morning, you find a stool with a large wooden plate bearing an aromatic breakfast, fried, breaded mushrooms with gravy and chamomile tisane. Downstairs, the innkeeper is putting firewood into the stove. He asks if you need anything. You got any leftovers, buddy? Aww. Okay. That's all. I need to go outside. Let's go get the dude. We can go to the well. I'm as clean as I can get. I am clean. So I'm actually doing okay. Sort of. How much food do I have? I have 2 food rations. That's fine. Alright. Let's go get the guy. Let's return to the camp. Time to head to the Pelt of the North. The scavenger keeps asking you to watch out for beasts and wraps the sharper scraps of iron in his cape. Folding the tent and putting it on your horse takes a while, and neither of you can sit down on the large pile of sacks and bundles. There's a long walk ahead of you, but for Ruffles, it won't be much of a burden. Once you clear the room, you walk away. At first, you hear only the birds and horseshoes. Then, the man starts to whisper. "Faster, eh? The apes are looking at us. You don't see any proof of that." Nothing we could do about it. I lead us to the southern gate. Oh, God. Not the apes. You move forward, slowed down by having to secure the bundles on Ruffles' back and carry your own bags. After half an hour, the man asks for a break. Even though you shared your food with him, he's not fully recovered from days of hunger, but the farther away you get from the ruins, the more cheerful and talkative he gets, mostly speaking about what he needs to buy and how much he, quote, hated the damn place. Then the beasts show up. Yeah, that's right, my friend. Ruffles is the horse's name. I prepare my axe. A loud bunch of griffins blocks the road near a pond. For you, their colorful furs and feathers don't look much different than the pack you faced in the valley days ago. There's still some distance between you and them, but could be crossed in less than a minute. There may be 20 beasts in sight, and this time they pay you much more attention. They spread their wings and start to screech, some making a few leaps forward. Your mount is too overloaded for you to turn away and get out of their range. Better to hold our ground, groans the scavenger, preparing his crossbow and dagger. True, let's stay on the defensive, but keep an eye on the horse. Quite the opposite. We should charge at them, yelling and swinging our weapons. Let's startle them. Let's focus on killing one of them as quickly as we can. Maybe the others will flee. I mean, I wish I knew what the right answer was. So, we can do... Alright, let's do it. He nods and blocks the path between the beast and your mount, and then raises his weapon, moving his aim between the approaching creatures. Okay, so I don't have a crossbow and I don't have a potion. I keep a bit of distance between us so we both have enough space to fight. I stay still until a creature gets in my range, trying to surprise it. I stay close to the scavenger, making sure nothing jumps on our backs. Alright, let's make enough space. The man's arrow hits and stops one of the creatures, but it doesn't buy you much time. He observes your movements for a while. Where you going? He scolds you. They'll surround you. It's too late to react. The semicircle of beaks and talons is hardly organized. One of the creatures simply leaps at you, and the others follow. For the next minute, you slice and dice whatever creatures you can hit, filling the air with screeches and feathers. The sheer number of opponents overwhelms you more than once, and it's difficult to keep pushing them away with your free hand. As you peek toward the scavenger, you see he's doing fairly well, jumping away whenever he lands a hit, but his short blade holds him back. You see blood coming from a few cuts through his clothes. Finally, it all ends, though not because of a lack of opponents. The one creature you butchered is still convulsing from pain, but the others, some of them hurt, have enough strength to run away. Their will is broken, yet the pack will go on, at least for some time. You're bleeding. Your gambeson took some of the damage upon itself. The man spits on the ground, deeply hurt. May apes and ibexes bang this place day after day. He leans forward, taking a few deep breaths, and looks at you. Roadster, I thought you dumb going away like that. But we're alive, ye and I both, he laughs briefly. Let me draw my ballista, and we can move forward. I just smile and try to ease Ruffles' thoughts. It's better to keep moving. Yeah, we survived. We're great. We're doing really well. The man's sleeve and stomach are soaked with blood, but he tells you to ignore it. Once you get closer to Pelt, he whistles enthusiastically. You weren't kidding. My, what a fortress. The guards open the gate and takes care of the scavenger's bundles, which Ruffles welcomes with a nicker. The man introduces himself quickly and asks to be brought some water from the well. Thank you, Roadster. I need to ask the innkeep if he has any soap. I'm not going to chop off my arm, he clicks with his tongue. But like I told you, if you want your coins, you'll have to come back tomorrow when my pouch gets heavier. But I can and would prefer to give you the potion that repels ape men instead. It's useful, but is not as much in the south as it is here in the woods. So, unfortunately, I could take the jar. So, like, the jar helps against ape men, which seems useful, but I'm running low on money. No, I have 3 money. Maybe the jar is good. I'll take the jar. Ha! I'm glad he unpacks a large jar made of clay. I'm not gonna lie, Roadster. It's pure troll urine, he chuckles. Don't ask me how I got it, huh? I know. I'll just take all the money. I wish. If you want to scare off some matemen, use it before they see you. Trolls eat them all the time, so they stay away for as long as they can. You imagine that you can feel warmth from the jar. Well, I won't miss it. I'll be here for at least a couple of days. You'll find me around if you need me. After all my recent camping, I'm going to spend a few hours kissing this nice, strong wall. He starts to laugh and walks away, waving goodbye. I pack the jar and make sure it won't spill in my bag. Well, that wasn't great. You got troll urine. I did. Can you fix my armor? So it cost 1 coin to fix my armor, and I will fix it. I gotta fix it because I need it to protect me against another hit. Hey, Yasuave, what's up, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. I leave the shed. And I go to the well. I can remove the bloodstains from my clothes. Did it. How much time do I have? We have 8 hours. I step away. Okay. Go to the well. No. Map. Okay. Where do we want to go? Well, all of these take time. No, it's where I clean myself. Alright, here I step away. Let's travel. Hey, Loki, what's up, my friend? Good evening, good to see you. Indeed. Let's go to the dolmen here. Let's see if this is tall enough to put one of the rods. No, I guess not. So there was a hill, over here, though. At the fallen tree. Let's see if my fish trap had any luck. Sadly, it's not only empty, the bait is already gone. Whatever had squeezed into the trap was small enough to catch the worms and swim outside. Okay, so we'll set it again. Okay, I got it done. I don't need to wash myself in the river. Okay, so this isn't apparently tall enough for putting the rods. The watchtower is. I need to keep enough time to get back to the inn, though. Loki, that's awesome, my friend. No, you know what? There's been a good bunch of Sega Genesis like game bundles released on different consoles, and Steam I think has some too. So you can get a lot of those games in, like built-in emulators that are like actually you buy them, so it's legit. I still can't get through here. Oh, nice! You're doing it with your actual original console stuff. That's great. How much time do I have left? Let me see this really fast. I have 5 hours, so it's going to take 2 hours and 45 minutes to get there, which is not very much time. Hey, Dante, what's up, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. The cabin. Oh, you know what? I didn't get to explore these places because I was, like, running from the wolves. Yes, QCZ, it really is. Like, it's interesting how the story keeps building and piling up. Okay. So here's a cabin. The only tracks in sight belong to small critters. The cabin has no window, but a stubborn beast could easily burst in through the old thatch. The gust of wind doesn't move the door. A curious ibex observes you from the crag, but flees from your gaze. I check on the cabin. You tether Ruffles to the supporting beam. How much time do I have? 4 hours? Its curious eyes are tracking the crickets that jump among the grass blades. You stretch your limbs, adjust your armor, and reach for the axe. Let's eavesdrop first. You sneak toward the door and crouch down. After maybe a minute, a quiet rattle comes from the inside, something similar to the sound of cracking knuckles. You peek inside and just barely see a small part of the dusty room. A large spiderweb is spreading among the knockdown furniture. Let me see, how much time does it take to get back here? Oops. I should leave and travel, and I have exactly enough time to get back. So I do want to go back and stay in the inn again. I need to restore my vitality. I need to sleep. I hate that I have to keep, buying a room, but I'm just not doing a great job of getting food or money. The sounds of rain wake you up briefly. Before you return to sleep, you think about your plans. Riding in the mud is difficult. Ruffles will have a tough time, especially on the unpaved grounds. It may be a good day to take a break at the inn. Well, I guess we could do that. I haven't even tried that yet. It's a calm, warm night. As your first sleep ends, you stretch out and prepare yourself for an active hour or two. It's time to take care of some things that must be done at least once every few days, though they are a bit more challenging than your nightly routine. It's time to check on my herbs and other ingredients. I get rid of the plants that have failed to dry out, throw away anything that's rotten, and wash my jars before I fill them up again. Alright? Doing some alchemical stuff. Okay, so we have gotten 2 out of 4 vitality, and we have 2 out of 4 nourishment. Any leftovers? Man, I keep rolling badly on that. There hasn't been leftovers left any of the days. I take another look at the main hall. The windows are locked. Several guards are sleeping in the corner. The innkeeper is mixing something in a pot at the stove. The scavenger is sitting in a corner napping, though he winks at you when you look toward him. Oh, he's still there. I approach the scavenger. Hi, Roadster, need anything? Enjoying your stay? It's not bad here, not at all. They bought what I could sell, but the hunters want my entire pouch for getting me south. We agreed to a lower price, but they won't just drop whatever it is they're doing to escort me. I don't care. I'll wait for a couple of days, do some chores for the innkeep, rest from the forest. Once the hunters are done with their plans, we'll move out. He scratches his cheek and beard and finally sighs. But I do feel like I've eaten, some troll dung. When I landed here, I had my pile of bundles and trinkets, and now I'm starting with nothing again. I should have listened to the warnings. This land belongs to no man. Yeah, I want the crossbow. The innkeeper actually sells a crossbow, but it's 30 dragon bones, and I have 1 dragon bone left. That's it. So I need to go out and make money. It's raining, though, so I don't know. Can I talk to the innkeeper about anything? Not really. He has no more jobs for me to do. Oh, here we go. I'd like to put this rod on your watchtower for Eudocia, the enchantress. She moves it close to her face, observing it with widened eyes. Is this some sort of magic thing? After your reassuring words, she's unconvinced. I don't know. I ain't fired up to do such favors. Maybe ask me after you spend some time around. Show us what you're capable of, or play dice with us when you have an hour to spare. These folks here, she starts to whisper as she points with her thumb at the guards behind. They crave gossip. Fine, maybe. I have a job for your crew. There are some goblins in the nearby ruins that pose a danger on the road. As long as it involves someone paying for it, I'm ready to listen. What do you know about the pack? Without interruptions, you tell her as much as you can. Getting rid of them will do the trick, sure, but it's so long as those buildings ain't razed to the ground, new beasts will move in, sooner or later. Though I ain't one to stop you from reaching into your pouch, a brief smile quirks her lips. Now, you need to take care of some things first. Hunters or not, we won't raid a lair blindly. What do you want me to do? She lists your tasks one by one, in the meantime bending forward to brush the boar. Make sure you've looked around the entire village. My crew will get mad if it turns out that yet another lair is just behind the corner. Then, be sure there's no soul around. When we fight, we don't do rescue jobs. And if we do, they cost a lot. The boar grunts and turns around, leading her to the other side. Speaking of which, for you it's going to be... She squints her eyes a bit. 14 coins. But we'll take some of the loot we find. We won't let go of magic swords and rings just because. Not that I expect any. She straightens up, but who knows? Just so you know, I'll bring an axe with me. She looks at you as if you're a lunatic. We won't take you with us. If you could kill a goblin, good, but we have a team. Our own words, knowledge of our strong and weak sides. We don't need you around. Just give us 2 or 3 days after you pay us and we'll take care of it. Okay, we'll return to it later. So, I gotta have enough money to pay her, and I gotta scout the place out. I mean, I don't have any money to throw dice, though. So what I need to do in this game is figure out a way to make money. Like, I basically found 2 coins, that's it. And that's not enough. The muddy roads will slow you down. I can barely get, you know, any place fancy before I have to turn around. So I can't do much traveling. I could finish exploring. You pass the area where you and the scavenger encountered griffins, but the only thing left of them is a few puddles of blood. Nothing goes to waste in the wilderness. Alright, so I'm not done here. I will look around the northern gate. The paths here have almost been reclaimed by grasses. To your east and west, you see shadowy alleys behind damaged buildings. I want to open the gate. You should take a look at the other side to be sure it's even possible, especially since it may take a couple of hours without proper tools. Okay, approach the tree. You don't find anything worth picking. The half-dead quinces have maggots crawling under their skins. You wonder which part of this meal is more tempting for the dark-winged birds sitting among the branches, the flesh of the fruits or of the worms. Quinces are rarely eaten without having a chance to blet. You could safely guess that they were meant to be dried or to add taste to cookies or hard drinks. After a few moments, you realize that the bottom part of the tree, just above the ground, is partially charred. Someone must have opposed a torch here, but the wet wood didn't burst into flames. Okay? I look into the well. It's filled up with soil, and you find nothing interesting about the area around it. Take a closer look at the gate. Pushed or pulled, it doesn't move an inch. Someone has spread dirt and rocks both underneath it and around it, seemingly to keep the planks stuck in the ground. Alright, I want to go somewhere else. The clearing in the west. Okay. The meadow is lush and colorful, and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes you lead Ruffles with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely planted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals. Though cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across a couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns into a wild forest. In the east, you see a road leading north. I leave the clearing, okay? I go to the road leading north from the village. You're at the closed northern gate. The neglected road is partially overgrown. You hear a river in the east, separated by the lush meadow, filled with crickets and rodents. I want to open the gate. It'll take quite a bit of time, but with the wooden and bone tools you found, it'll speed up your progress. Okay, so I collect this and get to work. How much time do I have? I have plenty. You take off your cloak and put away your bags and satchels while Ruffles grazes gladly in the meadow. After looking at the pile of dirt, you let out a sigh. You start with the larger rocks, removing the ground around them and pushing them into a single pile. Then you do the same to the other side. The simple shovel and pitchfork help you a lot, and once you get used to them, the work goes smoothly. You're done before you get too tired. From now on, passing through this place will take you less time. Great. So now we have a way through. I go somewhere else. I head to the river. Alright, looks like we've mapped out the whole area now. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some of them black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple of grunts, they run north. The river is not too wide, yet unusually deep, with banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You'd rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but you're tempted to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds, of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid their predators. A dance of life, completely unaware of your presence. You suddenly realize there's something else buried among the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out of the ground, a couple of stone axes and hoes. The wooden handles and a large wagon are covered with moss, but you recognize their shapes. Why would someone drop them here? On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. Hey Jody, what's up, my friend? Yes, it is. It's very much like an old school text-based adventure game. You know, it's describing everything. I turn back. You make decisions. There are survival mechanics. I'm doing horribly, but I'm having a good time. I consider washing myself in the river. I mean, I can do that, but I won't get any cleaner because I don't have enough equipment. I return to the barren fields in the southwest, but I don't have any way to investigate. So I can travel. And now I can actually move on from here. I couldn't do that before. So let me see, how much time do I have? I have 13 hours before dusk. So now that I've explored enough, I can go around and go to the west. So that seems like a good plan, because I can't travel too far. I might want to check my fish trap. Let's go this way, though. You enter the wetlands with their many streams, ponds, and fish. Large birds run and fly between the gray, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For a human, it may be an unwelcoming and harsh realm, but the overwhelming swarms of insects prove that it's a realm full of life. The danger with teeth and claws is hidden below the water's surface. I stay away from the banks. Wow, I made it to like an altar. This plant shouldn't be alive. Not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees of the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants, and it smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water's surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or on the shore. Hey, Hazel, what's up, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Were these rocks originally as formless as they are now, or was there a point in time, centuries ago, when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Ruffles is peacefully observing the dark grass and slapping flies with its tail. Whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees this place through very different eyes. I smile and scratch the bottom of its neck. Go ahead, I'll look around just a moment. You don't see any creatures, nor humans. I look into the water. You step cautiously. Without knowing how deep it gets, you have to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. Hey, Silum, good evening, my friend. Good to see you. I approach the altar, or I take a closer look at the roots. You kneel in front of one that's lying on the shore. It's brown, covered with hair that resembles that on your arm. When you touch it, it's moist, soft, and warmer than you'd expect. I stand up. Okay. I approach the altar. Swamp altar. There's clumped dirt in the uneven nicks, fused by years of winds and rains. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spiderwebs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. I try to make an offering. What is your sacrifice? I don't know, a box? This box? I could give food, but I don't have that much. I hate to do it. You put the box from the dolmen on the altar. Once you take it back, it's shaking a bit. Huh. I try something else. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. The tree is perfectly still and hasn't changed a bit since the first time you saw it. I make an offering. Food? You place any type of food you could find in your sacks or on the nearby plants, but none of them seem to make any difference. All right, what else do I have? You want the troll urine? I can't give money. I need my money for staying at the inn. You know what's cool, Silum, is that they have in the options you could change it to a different font that's like not pixel based and much more flowing and clear. So I'm betting they have that for other language support. I hope. I can't really do much else. I don't want to. I don't have enough to offer. I'll travel. And now I could go up or down. So I can go north and south from this spot, which is really cool. How much time do I have left before it's night? 11 hours. I want to see if I can get the fish. But we can go south. The shapes of mountains are cutting through the horizon. The water gets gradually less muddy. The cleaner it gets, the more animals you see. A family of deer blocks the road, resting and enjoying the cold water, which would be deadly for a human stomach. You consider riding around them through the sparse meadow, but your presence also causes them disquiet. Without much haste, they regroup and run east into the leafy forest. I travel forward. You've reached Hag Hills, the wall of stones that has blocked the city's grasp. The one well-established route through them leads through the valley where you will find Tulia's camp. There are no maps of the highlands, nor local tribes, only stories. The beaten path leads you by the garden beds of herbs and vegetables to an old yet not abandoned mine hidden behind a massive door made of steel. I look around. There's no hitching rail for a mount. A bearded, skinny elder sits on a bench, observing you like a sculpture, with his legs crossed, his fingers interlocked on his abdomen. So I always just try to be nice to people, which, doesn't really go that well, but let's do it. Good day to you. Don't worry about my horse. I'll keep it away from your garden. Only worms too stupid to understand me would eat what's mine. You dismount and mention that your palfrey is no worm, but the man reprimands you with a thick accent. Let me see you whilst you speak. I can nay hear without magic, but I'll read your lips. He doesn't yell, but his voice reminds you of a combat instructor from the city. His face is wrinkled, but he sits straight with beard and hair still carrying glimpses of fair blonde. He's tanned like a worker, and his eyes are blue and piercing, as if they belong to an infant. You're not from here, and I will not welcome a stranger in this refuge. Say what you're looking for and be gone. All right, let's use my knowledge. I've read about people like him in Wright's tablets. Exactly, Silum. It totally reminds me of old school games as well. I mean, it has like an Oregon Trail feel to it just because you're moving around. But yeah, I love old games like this, back in the day where they only had a few colors that they could use. So if they used a kind of like sepia color palette like this, then the entire game was going to be this way for the most part. You ponder about his unusual vigor and the unguarded garden. He may be a spiritual leader of a pagan community, most likely a spellcaster. Druids try to protect others from nature's wrath by teaching them to respect the laws of balance and restraint. Different tribes develop their own traditions, but you know that in this province, such priests prefer to be addressed as forest speakers. I explain who I am. What do you call him? Forest speaker. He lowers his head and closes his eyes, taking slow, deep breaths, forcing you to wait in silence. The elder is tall, with long hair and a beard that was let loose a long time ago. His sandals are covered in dust, and you spot dirt on his clothes and skin. The woolen tunic and linen were made with care, decorated with careful threads at the collar and sleeves. Now all the blues and greens have faded, and the fabric is held together by patches and stitches. He unfolds his hands and puts them on his lap, palms up. You know our customs, at least some of them. Those who know how to bow to the trees will never suffer from wild creatures. I wait for him to look at me. The man stands up and approaches your palfrey. Without touching it, he observes its eyes, mane, stomach, and rear. Ruffles ignores this examination. My nose was right, then. Asterion is dead, as are his plans. Such is the fate of all dreamers. He turns toward you with a grim look. Are you going to look for him? You nod. Why? If he's vanished into the fogs, then nay's the point of putting yourself in danger. What do you expect to find? Let's see, what do I want to say? It's a job, there's a reward for finding him. He may need my help. I need to know what kind of danger he encountered. If he's dead, I want people to know about it. If someone tried to make him disappear, they deserve to face justice. There's no reason you need to know. He may need my help. Do you believe that? That a man with no power over animals could disappear in the wilderness and survive for that long? He lets out a chilling laugh. I bow to your optimism. He doesn't actually bow. If what you say is honest, you and I could share our paths one day. Defending those can nay help themselves is something that makes me whole. He takes a deep breath and smiles. You have some questions for me? I nod. His voice is warm. So how can I help you? Have you met Asterion? He wanders among the garden beds from time to time, touching the leaves at hand. He was here more than once. He was nay one to stand aside and let events play out by themselves. The villagers from the north are sometimes in need of my assistance, and Asterion was serving them as a messenger. He bends down and tears away a small, flowerless plant. He wanted to settle down among these roads, maybe to live freely. He had great plans and wanted to make this realm flourish, to rebuild the ruins, get rid of the brigands, and clear that trade route. I told him that the forest needs nay more people, and that this realm is too wild to feed and clothe everyone. His greed and dreams have eaten him, and now he is nay more. He pauses, and you can hear his heavy breathing, as if he's getting tired. He straightens up. And that's that, traveler. If you want to look for his shell, travel north, far north. People there should know where he is. I'll do that. Alright, we got some new information. Our journal has been updated. He's observing your lips. Do you need anything else? Let's see here. Eudocia, the enchantress, asked me to place these bronze rods in high spots across the peninsula. I should be done in about half an hour. He takes and observes the rod for a moment, then closes his eyes and bites it gently. When he returns it, he seems unconvinced. I sense a spirit in it, but I'm not one who could tell who's behind it. How can I be sure? You explain what you know about the nature of the rods, but he changes the topic to Eudocia herself. Another minute passes by before he accepts that you indeed know her. Fine, I'll ask her for her story next time I see her. Go, but away from the spring. Don't break your neck. Even a child could get to the higher parts of such a rugged cliff, though you have no reason to expect all the loose rocks to be cleared. I take off my armor and put away my weapons and bags. The bronze rod is attached to your back by a cord. As you place your feet and hands on the rocks, you realize that you have to move slowly, maintaining your balance, pushing away small and large pebbles, making sure that the wall doesn't collapse under your feet. The rocks are coarse, supporting your grasp, and you rarely find a sharp spot. The climb resembles a nice summer walk, though your muscles are not prepared for such movements. You find the perfect spot, a small crack between two massive rocks. You use the rod to broaden it just a bit, then push it halfway in and fill the gaps with a rag. Doing it with one hand makes you dizzy, but not for long. I take a short break to catch a second breath. Climbing down is easier, though you struggle to recall exactly where you had previously placed your limbs. The warm sun eases your tension. After a few minutes, you land on the soft grass and dust off your hands. Once again, you prepare your equipment. The druid gives you the shining rod a pouty look. I've heard about some bandits. Were they bothering you? Journal updated. Glaucia's band. He strokes his beard, but then grasps it nervously. There are souls who steal from White Marshes, a village in the north. They would nay dare to show up here, but those brigands are brutes, simpletons. Even their leader, Glaucia, listens only to force, and will humiliate for the enjoyment of her band. She will nay be afraid of some lost Roadwarden. He lets go of his beard and lowers his head. She's drifted so far away from her old self. A kind, bright girl from Gale Rocks, loved by her parents, but now, do not cross her, or she'll find you. Okay. It seems like the path at the heart of the woods is quite dangerous. The ruined village journal updated. It has a long and dark past, and already caught many souls of its builders. 'Tis paved with blood, and last 10 years have revealed it was all for nothing. Since the days of... He glances at you, once again surprising you with how shiny and lively the blueness of his eyes is. Of grand discord, the tribes of this land are locking themselves in their fields and houses, too afraid to leave them behind, too trusting to meet other souls unguarded. 'Tis nay the first road to be claimed back by the wilderness, and will be nay be the last. You ask if he has any tips for you on how to survive such a trip, and he tells you it would be wiser just to avoid it. He then reaches to his pocket, grabs a leaf, and puts it in his mouth, chewing gently. Death may take many paths to us, stranger, but cats are the one enemy that's both as dangerous in its stealth as is in combat. No human can fight it alone. If you see one of them, and it's nay too late, do not provoke it. Make it wary, but not scared. Look big, talk a lot, seek its action in its eyes. So this is what to do against cats, I guess. What can you tell me about this place? You can see what there is to know. People found copper in a cave. It's been abandoned for a long time now, so we turned it into a shelter to stay close to the sacred tree and its altar. Oh, I was just there. We're servants, my wife and I, and this place is nothing more than the servant's house. I'm looking for a job. He looks at the garden beds. We have everything we need. How do you survive all by yourself? His raised voice makes him sound like a preacher. One day, me and my wife will be but defenseless old people, but we've studied pneuma and leaves for many decades. I heal wounds and illnesses of humans and animals alike, and the beasts listen to our whispers. The holy seed lets our shells wait for death and strength. All right then. What can you tell me about the peninsula? I've lived here for almost a century. Wow. Traveled both by the paths and through the wilderness. His voice becomes stronger and makes you think of a bard. But I will nay be your guide or a teacher. And if there's anything I can wish for, 'tis that you will stay away from the woods. The creatures get angrier the more we take from them. They do not listen to our warnings, and one day they'll bury us under a storm of claws and fangs. There will be nay soul to spare a tear after us. His eyes are as harsh as a hawk's, making him look like a priest who hears a child asking for honey on a day of ceremonial fasting. Do not poke the hornet's nest, do not ride east, and never use the path that runs through the heart of this land. That road was meant to save time, but brings only death. Be a servant, nay, an overseer. Do not try to bend this place to your will. He points at you and wags his finger after every word. Your will, anyone's will, is the key to danger, nay, salvation. I thank him. These instructions are in line with my own thoughts. He's observing your lips. Do you need anything else? I dabble a bit in herbalism. Any chance you'd sell me some of the woundwort you grow here? He looks at you with a renewed curiosity, then rests at the wooden bench, from where he glances at the pink flowers. His beard shakes as he tilts his head forward, wishing to help the wounded, I see. A notable goal. Once his eyes turn toward your lips, you see a doubting, raised brow. 'Tis a good season to pick the flowers and leaves, but you leave me with nothing but the bare stalks and the black tubers in the soil, and I quite like these tubers. You wish to take the oils away. Take care of the rest. Okay. It shouldn't take me more than an hour. Very well. Grab yourself a cloth from the bucket. Keep your knees from dirt. His tone has not the hint of a light-hearted invitation. It's an order of a master addressing their pupil. A statement as undisputed as the color of the sky. You put away your belongings and grab both the cloth and a small spade that's placed next to it. As you prepare Ruffles to graze in peace, you noticed a horned bear among the nearby trees just down the path. It completely ignores your presence, and as you're reaching for the axe, you hear a calm voice of the elder. Let the beast drink in peace. They seek nay harm. After a minute or so, you place the cloth on the ground and kneel on it. You start by cutting away the oily parts of the plants with your dagger and placing them on a wax-soaked linen cloth, hoping they'll stay somewhat fresh before the season ends. You stop caring about the way they color your fingers with green and pink. You don't have to be gentle either. After all, you plan to remove the wound warts in their entirety. The man interrupts you before you start digging. I do not expect the many herbs growing in the city. You look at him and wipe your forehead with a sleeve. Once you learn how to read, you can find a lot in the herbaria. Let's see. I wasn't born in Havlavan. I can give him some background information, I guess. He opens and closes his mouth. You return to your work, but after a few minutes the man interrupts you again. What does a codex like this look like? Are there instructions kept on parchment? You describe the richness stored among the hundreds of pages. I chose the reading option. Silum, yes, my friend, me too. They really do a good job, mixing in the accents and the different small little idioms to give it flavor. How each plant is both described and drawn with at least a couple of vivid colors. Through discussion and experiments, the monks gather knowledge about the cultivation and usages of various herbs. There are cooking and alchemical recipes as well, though kept in other books. You finish your tale. The man thinks about your tale, so you move on with your task. You stab the soil with the spade, getting to all the black rhizomes and roots you can find. The man tells you to leave the garden bed as it is so he can add some animal dung to it. You've gathered a small pile of yellowish worm-like tubers, still covered in dirt, not much longer than a finger, and disturbingly twisted. You gesture at the results of your work, but the man frowns and looks toward the pond. You forgot to wash them, herbalist. Fine. You get closer to the tiny waterfall. You stand across it and let the cool water do your job for you. In the meantime, washing your hands, the refreshing touch tempts you to take a sip as well. Finally, you put the tubers on the bench, and the old man, without comment, grabs one of them and puts it in his mouth, chewing with a hint of a smile. Your mount just woke up from its short nap. All right. I want to know what happened to the village in the east. I'm not willing to tell you that. He raises his chin and beard shakes. That shameful tale ought to be kept in the past for the sake of the living. Okay. Can you tell me anything about the altar near the crossroads in the north? He smiles. 'Tis the tree that you should pay attention to, the true gift from the forest. It answers to our offerings and rewards us with magnificent fruits. They heal both shell and soul and make anyone who eats them stronger than they ever were. We gather around this altar whenever the winter ends, and whilst it requires a painful sacrifice from all of us, it prepares one's soul for the future like nothing else could. Okay, great. I should probably be there for that. How much time do I have? 9 hours? Okay, what can you tell me about the druids? He strokes his beard gently. I will not share our paths with strangers. We are in for the people of Howler's Dell, in for the lands around it. Alright? So now I'm going to ask him again. I'm looking for a job. I believe your goodwill, and I'm in need of your help. He gestures for you to follow him to the pond. 'Tis nay a dangerous task, but one that I cannot complete by myself, and my spells are not enough to ask animals to fetch for me. He speaks very slowly. At the northern coast you'll find Gale Rocks, a village of fishers. One of them is in my debt, and I want you to collect what's mine. You want to ask him about this debt, but he doesn't look at you. He points at a shiny large fish with orange and golden scales that's swimming just nearby. This gorgeous creature is an empress carp, one of the few animals that thrive both in the seas and the lakes. I wait for him to look at me. You don't know where the man found the large worm that he now drops in the water feeding his pet. Go to that place and find Photios. He's a young father, an ocean folk with scars on his neck, which he will not hide. Ask for a male empress carp, but beware, I need it alive, so it can mate with the one I have. He stands up and approaches you. I do not sleep on dragon bones, but the pneuma's in my blood. I'll use some of it to heal your wounds, though not more than once. That's fair. Traveling with a live fish isn't going to be easy. I can't promise I'll do it right away. Don't worry, as long as it arrives here before fall and alive, it's going to be a huge help for us, okay? Fair enough. So did I get any of the stuff that I dug up? I don't think I did. At least I was able to put the rod here. How much time do I have left? 9 minutes? Alright. I'm going to travel all the way over here. Oof. I don't know if I have enough time because of the rain. Like, if I travel here 5 hours, and then it'll be 2.5 hours back, I think I should be able to make it. I'm only going all the way over here so I can check my fish trap. Hey, I caught a fish. You pull the rope and see a flopping fish inside. You prepare your axe, then open the lid and reach in for your catch. You stun the animal with 2 careful blows in the top of its head, then finish it off with a knife, cutting it underneath the gill plate. You spend another minute or 2 bleeding out the fish in the river, then cover it with a waxed linen sheet. You should eat it soon before it spoils. Great. How much time do I have? 4 hours. Let me see how much time it takes to travel back. 2 hours. Okay, I should be able to set the trap again. Alright. And I have enough time. Let me go to my inventory and eat the fish. I guess I could barter it for food. Oh, I can't eat it just raw. I need to cook it. Okay. Can I wash? Okay. Great. Let's travel. Let's get back to the inn. It's so rainy, it's hard to travel. So I'm going to get back here. And, I can't get myself cleaner at the well, so I'll go to the inn. I'm going to go to the innkeeper. Do I have anything you'd like to buy? The raw fish. Don't put it on the counter if you may. He glances at your catch. My crew doesn't hunt for fish. The lakes and rivers are too far away, and they ain't trained with all the weaving worms and rods. Sell me 2 at once and I'll give you a coin. Aw, man. I only have a single fish. So he won't buy it yet. So I'm going to have to catch another one, and then I can get 1 coin for 2. It's not the worst that it could be. Well, I'm going to have to use my last coin to sleep here. Now, I could just sleep on the floor, but it's bad for me. This has allowed me to kind of keep healing. You lose your senses right after you lie down. In the middle of the warm, stuffy night, you are entangled by your dreams. Too tired to fully wake up. Too accustomed to having a mid-sleep break to just get back to sleep. You're between the realms, surrounded by visions so vivid you're tempted to reach out, touch them, and stretch them out. They are your playground. Once I realize I'm in power, I do my best to enjoy myself. It's lucid dreaming. I fly, defeat dragons, eat, and drink whatever I want. I wouldn't dare disturb the natural flow of dreams. I accept them as they are, hoping to spot any visions they bring. No matter how much I try, my nightmares interfere with even the most joyful dreams. Or I try to break free of this state, thinking of all the things I was meant to do. Now let's just accept it. It's interesting, you have these decisions at night. Like, I don't know if this actually does anything to me. You got any leftovers? Man, I've been so unlucky on the leftovers. I haven't gotten one yet. Alright, fair enough. So we have 15 hours before the next day. And we've made an amazing amount of progress if we look at the map. Before, I wasn't even able to get over here. And I hadn't made it past this watchtower. Or actually even to the watchtower. So we're really uncovering a good bit of the map, but we've completely run out of money, and we only have a little bit of food left. We have recovered our vitality, which is nice, but we're grasping at straws to survive, so I'm going to have to take some big risks, I think. Everyone, I'm still really enjoying this game, and it's got such a nice vibe, a cool story, lots of lore, really fun ambient music, and charming throwback graphics. It is indeed my bedtime. I want to say thank you so much for coming out to the stream tonight. I hope you all have an excellent evening or day. We will be playing RimWorld tomorrow if you want to stop by and see how we're doing out on the Rim. Alex, Siloom, Grim, Jody, QZC, I'm a Prod, Loki, Undead Works, Crispy Bacon, Chef Smitty, Heathrun, Jamnuska, Nicholas. Everybody out there, take care. Have a great one.